The Texas Bowl is a proud partner of the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week and Player of the Year award and the Gridiron Legends program. And this week, we're proud to spotlight the Cy-Fair versus Cy-Creek game as our Texas Bowl game of the week. And joining us today is the head coach of those Cy-Creek Wildcats. It is Coach Greg McCaig. Coach, really appreciate your time. I want to ask you a little bit about the season so far. Obviously, a very strange offseason, a delayed start to the year. You guys have played a tough schedule, off to a 1-2 start. Right now, I'm interested where you assess your team being right now, maybe versus your expectations.
Well, Greg, I think that to your first point, it's been an odd offseason, and we spent an awful lot of time trying to get prepared and also trying to make sure our kids stay as safe as possible. In regards to the season, like you said, we played a pretty tough preseason schedule, but that's by design. We're still, I would imagine, we're still finding things out we would find out in the latter part of spring if we had a normal year. So I would say that right now we've identified, the strengths that we think we have going forward. We've started to eliminate some concepts and schemes. We've started to move some personnel around, that kind of stuff like that. And so that brings us up to the challenge of playing Cy-Fair, very talented team with lots of really good players, and we're going to have to play our very best to have a chance to beat them.
I was talking yesterday with Coach Miller over at Cy-Fair, and he mentioned the rivalry aspect of this. Cy-Fair, Cy-Creek is a game that both teams definitely want to win. Definitely is in the fans' hearts. Definitely an important game. Do you guys approach it any differently? Obviously, these kids have grown up around it. They want to win this game. Do you approach it any differently? How do you kind of maintain that kind of balance between a great rivalry game and also taking care of business?
Well, I think, Greg, that you run the risk if you put all your eggs in one basket of beating one team, of overemphasizing one game. If anybody's proven that you can start off slow and go far, it's us over the last 2 or 3 years. So while the game is really important, and it is, beating Cy-Fair is always one of our priorities, it is literally one game. And then, we've got 7 other ones who we've got to play in district play. So we've got a lot of work to do. This is a rivalry game. A lot of these kids go to church together. They've gone to middle school together. They've been buddies in Little League and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. So it's important, and it's a stepping stone. Is it the end-all, be-all? Probably not, but I didn't go to Cy-Fair, so I can see where Coach Miller might be a little bit more fired up about it. But it will certainly command all of our attention come Saturday.
Coach, one thing that I'm very interested in, this is a team that pretty young. This is a team that you guys are relying on some youngsters, both as far as varsity experience is concerned, and then also just juniors and sophomores and even some freshmen that you've got out there. What have you seen from your youngsters so far this season?
Well, we are young. We brought back 2 on offense and 2 on defense, and we graduated some really talented seniors, so that made it difficult. But we're seeing some maturity come along now. Now that first couple of games are pretty wide-eyed. The last game we played, we had a pretty good game, and they all got to play. So, I think they're starting to get used to the pace of the game. Probably the biggest thing young kids will tell you is that it's so fast, Coach. It's so fast. It was never like that before. And we've even had, we've got a freshman up on the varsity too. And then, his last meaningful game was against a middle school. Now he goes out and plays a team like Klein Kane, which is very talented. And all of a sudden the game is going really fast. So, and the only way to get over that is to play, get out there and experience it. And I think that our younger kids are growing up, and the seniors that are coming up through our program that we're relying on now are they're adapting, and certainly not having spring ball and the COVID world has changed that, but they're adapting and doing the very best they can.
Saturday at Pridgeon Stadium at Cy-Fair versus Cy-Creek. I know you're game planning heavily for the Bobcats. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan, but when you go up against Cy-Fair on Saturday, what are you going to be up against?
Well, you've got to look at both sides of the ball. I think offensively, they've got one of the premier players in the country in the running back, LJ Johnson. So that's going to be a challenge for our defense, to attack that. They're very efficient throwing the football. They've got a great big 6'7" tight end that's a great target. And so they've been able to create really good balance between the run and pass. And so you can't, everybody says, well, line up and stop LJ. Well, they do a pretty good job of throwing the rock around, so that makes it a little bit tougher than that. And then defensively, they are very much like most Cy-Fair teams in that you got to beat them. You know, they're not going to just make a critical error. They're not going to line up wrong. They're not going to beat themselves. You've got to go out and earn it. They're really good tacklers in space, and we kind of gear our game around playing in space. So that'll be a challenge for our kids. And then we have to, we have to be able to handle them up front and get some balance for ourselves. Now, we don't define balance like most teams do, run, pass. We define balance as how many times can I get each one of the skill kids to touch the ball. And so that's going to be our challenge. But they're undefeated for a reason. I mean, they're a good team, and they've done some tremendous things over the last several years. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's a Saturday afternoon, and it's supposed to be great weather. It's supposed to be cool, and we're getting to play football and not have to stay at home during the COVID time. So it beats a sharp stick in the eye. I can promise you that.